Radhey. In my talk last week, I shed light on the topic of why worship God. And I explained that as individuals, we inherently aspire for one thing alone in life, and that is happiness. The science behind this is that every individual soul is an eternal part of God. God is bliss personified, and being a part of Him, every individual soul naturally seeks bliss. In fact, no individual can deviate from this eternal goal for even a moment, even if they were to endeavor to do so for countless ages. However, the astonishing thing is that despite our incessant efforts, we have not yet tasted even a drop of that perfect, everlasting happiness. And I ended my talk on the note of because we do not understand what bliss is, where it can be found, and how it is to be attained. Now, in today's talk, I'm going to shed light on the topic of what is true happiness. Now, as I explained, happiness is the one and only one thing every living being desires. आनंद पाने की गोविंद राधे जीव में नित्य आकांक्षा बता दे राधा गोविंद गीत. So happiness is the one and only one thing that every individual desires. And yet, there is such variation and variety found everywhere else in this world. There are 8.4 million forms that a soul can enter, and they are all unique. Some reside in water, some in the air, and some on the earth. Some are born from a womb, some from eggs, some from moisture, and some from the earth. Out of 7.6 billion people on earth today, not even 2 have the same features or identical fingerprints. Isn't that astonishing? Now, regardless of this fact, all embodied beings desire only happiness. You might think, why is that so? Have we never experienced happiness? Is that what it is? Yes, indeed. We experience it from our mother, father, spouse, etc. We experience it from sense objects too. We saw something with our eyes and felt happy. We heard something with our ears and felt happy. We tasted something and felt happy. This is our daily experience, and it is an undeniable fact. Our scriptures and great masters, however, tell us that this happiness has 2 major defects. What are they? The first is that the happiness that we define as happiness, it is simply limited. There is always a greater happiness beyond our current experience. And when you become aware of it, your current level of happiness finishes. A person gets a motorcycle, and while riding it, he feels happy. When a car passes him and its tire hits a puddle of water, throwing mud all over him, he thinks, "What is the use of this motorcycle? If only I had a car." The initial joy of owning a motorcycle has now come to an end. Our experience is that this happens in every area, in every walk of happiness. When you see happiness you consider better than your own, your current happiness ends. So what we actually desire is unlimited happiness. A happiness beyond which there is no greater happiness. The second reason is the happiness we desire should always remain. It should be constant. Worldly happiness steadily decreases and eventually it ends altogether. A mother's son is missing, and she is in a state of great distress. Her anxiety causes her to be awake all night. Finally, her son was located and returned to her. She embraces her child with great joy. She hugs him a second time, but now her happiness was reduced somewhat. A third hug produced less happiness, and by the fourth, the mother says, "Now go outside and play. I have work to do." Why does the happiness diminish? The very thing that was once a source of happiness becomes a source of sorrow. What could be the answer? The answer is that what we actually desire is happiness, which is unlimited. It is immeasurable, and it remains forever. Every living being, from an ant to the Creator, Brahma, all desire happiness, because each and every living being is a part of God, who is the embodiment of unlimited, everlasting happiness. In my next talk, I'm going to shed light on what we define happiness as. What is our definition of happiness, so that we can further understand this concept of what true happiness is. I will leave you with these thoughts. श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। श्रीमद् युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे। जय जय श्री राधे। जय जय श्री राधे।